Aloha and welcome everybody. This is Michael Mazzella from HonoluluMentor.com. Today I want to talk to you about contracts. Buy and sell agreements, contracts. As real estate investors, that's a very important part of our business. It's something we're dealing with all the time. There's a lot of confusion in the business over contracts, and I think the training industry contributes a lot to that. For instance, if you've attended any Rich Dad seminar, a Robert Kiyosaki boot camp, Robert Allen boot camp, Russ Whitney, usually every seminar that you go to, every boot camp you go to, they're issuing you more and more contracts to use. And before long, you've accumulated an entire library of contracts, and it gets more confusing. Well, which ones do I use for what? And there's so many of them. Which ones are the right ones to use? Which ones should I not use? And what are the problems associated with them? And they still tell you got to have your attorneys, look them over too. So there's an additional cost involved. And then on top of all that, you find out that when you start using them, if there's a realtor involved in any part of the transaction, the realtor is not even going to accept that contract to begin with. They want you to use the standard realtor's form that's been approved in that particular state. Now, a lot of people ask me, Michael, is there a way around this? What do you do? How do you crack the code on using contracts? It seems to be so complicated. Well, my solution is pretty simple. And actually, in 80 to 90% of the deals that I do, I use the standard realtor's contract. And I make adjustments to it if needed, modify it to my liking, but for the most part, I use the realtor's contract, even when there's no realtor involved in the transaction. The reason that I use the realtor's contract, that I prefer to use that, is that the realtor's contract in any given state is fair and balanced. It does not favor one party over the other. It's pretty much fair and balanced wherever you are. So I prefer to use the realtor's contract whenever I'm buying or selling, and even if there's no realtor involved. Now, if I'm selling one of my properties and somebody hands me one of those seminar contracts, or a contract drafted by an attorney, well, I don't know for sure if it's slanted toward him or her, and it's not in my favor. So what do I have to do? I have to go and call up my power team attorneys, and I have to get them involved, and they have to look it over. And of course, they're going to make some adjustments to it. So now we're racking up the costs, the hourly fees for my attorneys. So again, just to keep it simpler, I go with the standard realtor contract, and I think you should learn to modify that contract to your liking. For instance, we do a lot of assignments in this business, and if the realtor contract that you're using states anywhere that, well, this contract cannot be assigned, I simply cross that out and I write in this contract can be assigned, and then I'll initial it. That's just an example of modifying the contract to fit your needs. If I need to have some stipulation in the contract that is not included in the standard realtor's contract, well, I'll put that on a separate page, and I'll make that an addendum. I'll add that to the back of the contract. Now, in Hawaii, we have a 12-page realtor's contract, and the first page looks like this. In fact, this particular one, this example here was an offer I sent out. I actually got the deal. I took down a deal on this one and made a good bit of money on it. But one of the questions that comes up when you're using a realtor's contract is, well, a realtor told me that you have to be a licensed agent in order to use it. Well, that's not true at all. In fact, in any state, that's not the case. However, just because it's not so, it doesn't mean you'll find a realtor somewhere who will tell you that, oh, you can't use it. But that's not the case. You can use it. You don't have to be a licensed realtor to use the standard realtor's contract. In fact, the board of realtors over here, they used to actually sell them for a few bucks. You could go buy a contract. But in order to get one of these, you can ask any realtor and just have them send you a blank copy. Tell them that you're going to be making some offers and I'd like to be familiar with the contract, and it's usually not a problem at all, and they'll send you one. In fact, if you will send me an email, I will forward a contract to you, a blank Hawaii realtor's contract, no problem. The ones that I have, you can actually type it in, fill in the blanks on the computer, and then print it out. So you can reach me at michael@honolulumentor.com, and I'll be happy to send you the Hawaii realtor's contract, a blank one. So again, this is Michael at HonoluluMentor.com. Go out and create a great day.